Alrighty, let's begin. So, good evening and welcome to Sangha. We are the Insight Meditation community of Bloomington-Normal. In this Sangha, we practice togetherness. We come together unified under our practice of mindfulness. Yeah, we form this Sangha body unified on this practice because we feel that it is this practice of mindfulness that is so important that we decide to meet together for it, that we decide to practice together and also show one another our own mindfulness. This practice is a social practice, something that we use to engage with the world. So this Sangha is also part of our practice, and it's wonderful to have you. So let's arrive. Maybe just taking just a few minutes to be here completely. And so if you'd like, maybe closing the eyes, just gazing downward gently. And coming home to the breath. Maybe one nice slower breath. And coming home to the body. Remembering we have bodies. Feeling ourselves in the seat. Feeling relaxed maybe. But also feeling maybe upright, maybe excited to meet the moment. And coming home to this Sangha. All the people that decided to be here tonight. And reflecting why it is that you're here. Why are you here right now? And lastly, maybe coming home to this sense of goodness. This goodness of us getting together, meditating, but also holding in our hearts ourselves, others, and all those that couldn't be here. And feeling held by all those that support us. All those people that want us to be here. And taking just a few breaths of silence for yourself. And coming back. It's nice to arrive. Nice to arrive with you. And so we'll start with some announcements. Tonight will be our Dharma teacher Dharma talk, led by a authorized, recognized Dharma teacher. Tonight the talk will be from Goenka. There'll be more information about that coming up. Also, our next meeting will be a revisit of our Dharma Sharing Circle meeting. We're already coming back. It'll be our second meeting of this style. I feel like the first meeting was really powerful. So it's nice to already be back to revisit that. So we have a sign-up sheet that you can always sign up all the way until the end of the year. If you ever wanted to give a Dharma talk or present a Dharma talk from a Dharma teacher that you love, I will drop the link right here in the comments. And also this Saturday is our forest walk. Yay! Many weeks in the planning. This walk will be led by me and Karen Vrinsky. So far, 5 people have registered, and it's just really exciting to be able to share this practice with someone else. Just to be able to actually do it out there in the forest is going to be so amazing. Really excited. If you know anyone that may be available, let them know. And if you can't be there, you will definitely be there with us in spirit. Definitely. Registration, I will drop that in the comments. Also, One Mindful Morning is up in full swing. It is coming up Saturday, November 8th from 9 to noon. This retreat will be in person at UUBN, Unitarian Universalist Church of Bloomington-Normal. This retreat will be an easy retreat. The emphasis will be on taking the easy approach to meditation. So in meditation, we think of it as a way to relax, but what we're doing really is cultivating ease. And ease can be confused as relaxation. Relaxation is this maybe absence of tension, whereas ease is a feel of balance, a feel of harmony. Everything is okay. Everything is in its place, inside and out. And so doing this in a very easy way. So looking forward to that. We'll be sitting in silence, really just focusing on mindfulness of the breath and finding a posture that is very comfortable. So sitting, feeling comfortable, relaxing with the breath. That's pretty much the retreat for an extended period of time for you to really let time allow the process to open up and reveal to you insights that were previously unseen. You may have this sense of clarity coming to you. So all are welcome. And you can find our registration there at our webpage. And that is it for our announcements. Does anyone have any personal announcements? No? All right. And we'll skip member introductions. And we can just jump right into check-ins. How's your practice been? How have you been? Whatever's on your heart. And we can just, whoever feels inspired to share first can jump right on in.
I don't have too much to say. It's been a fairly selfish practice for me lately. I think I mean that in a good way, best way. I've kind of, there's been periods of my time with meditation where I've really benefited from silent meditation. There's been times when I've really benefited from exploring guided meditations, finding different teachers at random sometimes, and that can be kind of fun and sometimes kind of futile. But I'm in a phase now where I'm finding that guided pieces are helpful in terms of my focus and keeping my mind quiet and on track. And so, so it's been kind of a hit or miss process with Insight Timer. Sometimes, like I say, you can find really great stuff, and sometimes it's like, oh, this really is not for me. I'm glad it's making some people, of benefit to some or whatever. But the current challenge on Insight Timer has been one of a series of 10-day meditations about your inner critic, right? Which sounds kind of goofy, but is really kind of why I got into meditation and mindfulness 8 years ago, was because the stories I was telling about myself all had to do with self-harm and self-hatred and, suicidal ideation and just these narratives that undermined any love or compassion I could feel for myself. So before I could get into metta, before I could do any sort of, think about sending merit outward, I had to work on like forgiving myself and telling myself a new story about who Dirk is and these collections of memories and experiences, right? So revisiting that through these intentional guided meditations on Insight Timer have been really helpful. Yeah, that's all I got to say. I'm gonna turn my camera off for a minute. I've just got to manage something, but I'm still here.
I'll follow Dirk's lead as usual. Um, I remember last time I challenged myself for having um, fiercely loving kindness. And the very next day, I felt like, a surge of like frustration coming to the surface. And I realized in that moment, like, after it passed, that, oh, it's about the commitment I made to myself, and it's making space for that to seep in. So it was a process for me to like kind of examine what triggered, examine why it triggered, and examine um, what that release meant for me. And after I did all of that, surprisingly, I was able to have that fierce compassion consistent. It was it was more about connecting myself to the essence of metta, but not only while you're doing meditation, but holding that essence consistently throughout the day. And then using the meditation time to allow yourself to not have that, but allow yourself to be free of that boundary and go inward, do the work that you need to do, and then picking up that again. So the process was like a little bit of like nostalgia mixed with, oh, this skill set, I have not utilized it to that extent. And kind of like building up that same muscle and working it through. And um, I feel calmer. I feel, prior to doing that, the stress would get to me about, whoa, 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 what's happening? Why is the workload twice as much? What's going on? Like, what is like, whose slack am I picking up here? And all of those thought processes. And now it's like, I really don't care. I'm just gonna like keep doing what I'm doing and keep replicating it. I'm tired of thinking like about the accountability part. I'm just gonna manage mine and I'm just gonna let it go. People have stuff going on in their lives, people have going stuff going on at work. It's all right. I don't need to carry everything. I just need to carry myself and it's okay. And that even kind of went through like, things with family, with friends, with just closed ones and loved ones. It's about, this is my mindset and I'm okay with you having a different mindset, but your mindset doesn't affect me and I hope mine doesn't affect you. And it was just like more of a cohesive conversation. It's about having that compassion, but it also surprisingly brought up like the boundaries, you know, boundaries of how I can respect the boundaries and not jump into judgments. Because most of the times when we think about boundaries, we think about people imposing themselves on us, but I think it's outward too. And it made me realize of that. Like, you know, my boundaries are there not to just keep people away from me, but it's also about understanding that I don't need to take over someone else's stress, someone else's burden. I can be okay. I can drop the judgment and I can just let it all go. And it's been so calming that I feel like in just that week span, I can also feel like my intuition's kind of coming back stronger and hitting the marks. And I'm like a little bit surprised about that. But I think that's what happens when you take the radio fuzz out of the picture.
I love it. Love, love, love all these shares. Thank you so much. Taking the fuzz out of the picture, absolutely. That's just a wonderful segue into my share. Um, as you guys know, I did a solo retreat, and driving up there, Ruchi and I were talking. In a way, this meeting is kind of like a birth. This is where it was birthed, and um, feeling nervous about feeling lonely, being on a silent retreat, just wanting to focus on certain areas of my practice, and um, listening to Goenka's talks and getting just a different view on sense contact, which he'll talk about a little bit, sense impressions and how we react to them. Um, and yeah, so normally going into retreats, it's like when I hit the ground, I'm on retreat. Like there's no like, start stop. I'm here to practice. And it's great. And I went in with that, with like the full thing ready to go. And it was interesting to see how your own inclination to stay mindful can vary when it's only guided by you. There's no one else around. There's no teachers or people to keep you accountable, or, there's no eyes on you. Um, and I found it was so much easier to just stay in the practice because there was no outside indicators of start, stop, this, that. It was just living. And it brought up all of these thoughts and feelings of, oh, I can do this in my daily life. And every day can be a retreat. Why not? Da, 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 da. And, getting back, doing my daily life, seeing how there is a continuum. There is no start stop. It all just goes into itself. And feeling, I was like, okay, so like this morning I got up, washed my face, was feeling, the rush, not on retreat, not, and what's the difference? Oh, and to explain it is more of just there's quiet. On retreat, when I wash my face in the morning, it's quiet. It's quiet in my mind. It's it's quiet. And, you know, instead of feeling this idea of, staying on the ball, being mindful as much as you can, trying to make your life into a retreat, I'm viewing it more of as like a focused beam of energy. Last time I was really like marrying science and Dharma and this idea of a laser, how a laser is really just light, and light goes in all 360 directions. But, when you focus it, it has incredible unique properties. And, my son found this little jumper thing. It's like a little rubber dome that you flip and then you put it on the ground and it shoots way up high. And he's like, whoa! And it occurred to me to explain that is because all of the force inside this little disc is being unified at the same exact time in the same exact point to make that incredible reaction happen. That's what it feels like being mindful at the level of being on retreat in my daily life. It's like that of a laser. I can tell when everything is focused in because it feels more quiet. It's more about the absence of things rather than this intense, like, focusing in. It's more openness, more absence. And so that's been really, really nice to feel that focus of being on retreat, kind of going through my daily life, just simply based on how, like a mental and bodily sensation. So that's kind of been a bit about my practice, really finding when it is time that I'm focused and when I'm not. And if I'm not, what is it that's not focusing that beam? So, yeah, thank you for letting me share. All right, so let's begin. Tonight we'll be practicing with the style of Goenka, a Vipassana meditation master of the 20th century. And before we begin, I just want to talk a little bit about insight meditation in America, its history, and also the lineages. So insight meditation is also known as Vipassana, as you've heard me say here and there. And this took root in the United States in the 70s. This was really influenced by spiritual seekers who were influenced by Timothy Leary and Ram Dass and a lot of these other outward thinkers of the 50s and 60s. Went to Asia, learned these things, came back enlightened or seemingly different, and more people wanted that. So some of these teachers, spiritual seekers went over to Burma and Thailand. In Burma, the lineages were passed on from Masai Sayadaw, who was one of the first monks of that tradition in the 20th century to really push that these meditation centers should be open to lay people. That lay people, this was a big debate, lay people can achieve enlightenment. That is a thing. We should give it a try. Masai Sayadaw was one of those pioneers. Also Ubakin, who's also Burmese, a concentration master, among many, many other things. Dipa Ma, many others, the Thai forest tradition, all of the Ajahns that you have heard of, Ajahn Chah specifically, and even today, Sayadaw U Tejaniya, who's another Burmese master who's really having a big influence on insight meditation in America today. So This all comes from ancient teachings that were taught to the Buddha. This all comes from the Theravadan tradition. Theravadan is, I don't remember what that stands for, but basically like the original teachings. Um, and so, yeah, they learned for many years, came back, started meditation centers, most notably the Insight Meditation Society in Barre, Massachusetts, started by Joseph Goldstein, Sharon Salzberg, Jack Kornfield, and Ruth Dennison. And later came on Spirit Rock Meditation Center. And then there's also Essen Goenka. Essen Goenka, same kind of story. Was a layperson who was a spiritual seeker, went to some of these great teachers that fall in the same lineage of those who I mentioned here, and life was profoundly changed and devoted their life to sharing this practice with others. So you can find Goenka, his teachings, his tradition, and his meditation centers that are all over the world, and they offer monthly 10-day Vipassana courses that are very powerful, non-sectarian path to practice. There's no real religion tied into this, no real dogma, belief system. In fact, it's anti-religion, anti-dogma almost. And this has introduced hundreds of thousands of people to this practice. The work of Essen Goenka is unparalleled, and his dedication to nonstop dedication to teaching this and promoting this. And so here we are today, where it is these two lineages that are vibrant and alive in America, both of which are the paramount representations of insight meditation here in the States. Yeah, well, I think that's it. I think that's pretty good. I'll leave it at that. And Ruchi here, her teacher is Essen Goenka, and has been a long time practitioner. And would you like to share just a little bit about your experience with the practice, what it means to you, maybe just your wisdom on him, anything else you'd like to share?
Um, so being a longtime practitioner, I think once you start walking on the path, we realize over time, like, you're learning from your own experience, which is basically the core of the Goenka teaching. You are just going with the practice, and as you keep, following the path, you come to a point where you feel like there, like, you don't understand it anymore, and you just keep following through without actually kind of understanding the depth of it. I call that as a plateau, and I've reached that on multiple occasions where I plateaued, and just going through the process, I have realized, like, philosophy of Buddhism is something that I have been very distant from the whole time I have practiced it. But now, being able to read through the philosophy, now I understand the plateauing much more in depth. What was the purpose of it? What was the need for it? The way Goenka practice works is that all of these philosophical books that I have read and tried to understand before ever meditating in the Vipassana lineage, it always felt like an intellectually titillating kind of topic, but to not understand it at the experiential level, it always filled me with awe and with this understanding of, like, you have to be a different kind of human to grasp it, put it in practice, and or be that. And I didn't realize it until years of walking on the path that something clicked, and now I can relate to those philosophical verses or philosophical teachings of Buddha. And I feel like to be able to walk on the path, to be able to follow the practice in your living life, the experience of it is very important, because without the experiential level on body and mind, you cannot adapt it into your day-to-day life, because something that is only seeped into the intellectual level does not form a cognitive behavior pattern. So for me, years of practice and years of understanding the cause and effect and the connectedness of everything within my own mind, within my own body, and being able to see it manifest into my physical life itself has given me a better understanding of the teachings of Buddha itself. And I feel like I'm glad that I took the hard way of following the practice and walking on the path, then diving into the philosophy, and that's pretty much it. Yes, the path is something that takes years of dedication, diligence, patience for most, um, and being able to not see any visible shifts, but having the faith in the practice, because with every breath and with every second that you're sitting down, it's productive. If you go to a 10-day course, um, most assistant teachers that I have worked with, at the last day when, metta has happened and everything, and they would, like, someone would ask, how was the course? And I I find it difficult to explain, because it's such a emotional journey for me every time I've taken a course. But then, I would talk to teachers like, how would I explain it? And they're like, it's merely been productive. It's merely been a successful course, because you were able to complete those 10 days and you did not leave in between. So it is a successful course. It is productive. And that has stuck with me, that I sit down and meditate, even if it is 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 20 minutes or 2 hours or an hour. The act of sitting down and being able to concentrate on my breath and the sensations on my body, to me, that is productive. To me, that is progress. So over the years, being able to understand how my mind would work initially on associating with a certain experience that I've had in my past or a day prior, and wanting to replicate it, and disassociating with good or bad cravings and aversion. And I was able to kind of embody that within my practice, that if I'm looking at yesterday's practice and trying to replicate it, I'm creating craving. Or if I don't want yesterday's experience when I dozed off while meditating for straight 3 hours, now I'm creating aversion. So it has helped me grow as a meditator on this path. And of course, the ripple effect on my life has been something that I'm grateful for, to the practice and the teachers and the first person that pointed me to that direction. So all in all, I would say I have immense amount of gratitude to the practice, and I I hope like other people share the same, that have walked on the path, even if it's not the same path. So thank you.
Thank you for your beautiful share. Yeah. All right. And with that, we're going to jump right into meditation. We'll be practicing using a guided meditation from Goenka himself, using this YouTube video. And let me go ahead. There we go.
Seekers of peace
Does that sound good?
and harmony.
All right.
Who does not seek peace? Who does not seek happiness, harmony? Everyone needs it. Everyone gets agitated, disturbed, becomes unhappy due to one reason or the other. A desirable thing has not happened. Something undesirable has happened. And one loses the peace, the harmony, agitation. How can there be peace when there is agitation in the mind? How to come out of this agitation? How to enjoy real peace, real harmony? Buddha, the enlightened one, discovered the path of peace, path of happiness. I know to learn it, you have to give 10 days of your life. And you don't want to do that. All right. You have to start somewhere. Start with the kindergarten of Vipassana. The path of peace, the path of harmony. Just the ABCD of this wonderful path, which you can do, certainly do, every day. The object of your concentration, of your awareness, is your own breath, which is the truth of your life. The breath is there. When one gets born and remains till one passes away, all the time it is with you. But you never cared to be aware of it. Now for the first step of Vipassana, learn how to be aware of the truth of your breath. Breath, as it is not a breathing exercise. This is not pranayama. Pranayama has its own physical benefits. Nothing wrong. But this is not pranayama. effortless, natural. The breath that comes in, that goes out, effortlessly, naturally. You have to develop awareness of your own breath, coming in, going out, coming in, going out. If it is long, it is long. If it is short, it is short. Passing to left nostril or passing to right nostril, just remain aware. Don't try to change. Just remain aware. Aware of the truth, the path given by the enlightened one is the path of truth, awareness of truth, nothing but truth. So now the beginning also, nothing but truth. Your breath coming in, going out, passing through this nostril or that nostril. Don't try to change anything. Just remain aware. Effortless breathing. Just remain aware. The mind is so agitated. Something undesirable has happened in life. Desirable has not happened. Mind becomes agitated. This has become the habit pattern of the mind. Harmful habit pattern. Harmful habit pattern has to be changed now. No agitation. You are aware of breath, no agitation. But because of the old habit of the mind, it does wander away. It wanders. When you find it has wandered, don't get agitated. Thus suspect the fact the mind has wandered away. So what? It is still with me. Come back to the breath. Natural breath. Mind wanders away. Come back to the natural breath. One thing very important for this path of truth, awareness of truth. While you are developing your awareness of the breath, no verbalization, no visualization, no imagination, no confusion. You are observing your breath and you're confused with so many things. How can you observe properly? Don't allow anything to disturb you. Just breath. Nothing but breath. The truth of breath. No imagination is involved. No speculation is involved. No blind faith is involved. No blind belief is involved. Every human being can practice it without any difficulty. Every human being, belonging to this community or that community, this caste or that caste, this country or that country. Human being is human being. It makes no difference. Agitation is there everywhere. And everyone wants to come out of agitation, come out of misery, come out of unhappiness. And the object of awareness is with everyone. The breath coming in, the breath going out. You are the beginners now. You can't spare 3 days for this practice, which we call anapana. Incoming breath, outgoing breath. To take a full 10-day course of Vipassana, 3 days of anapana. And you can't spare. But certainly, however busy you are, you can spare 10-15 minutes every day, morning, evening, or just before going to bed. 10-15 minutes. Sit comfortably. Keep your back and your neck straight. Keep your eyes closed. When eyes are closed, no use of spectacles. Take your spectacles off. Just keep your attention on the entrance of the nostrils, the breath coming in, the breath going out. However agitated your mind is, very soon you will start realizing that with this 10 minutes of anapana, 10 minutes of observing the breath, your mind is getting calm, quiet. Start. This is A, B, C, D of the great path of Vipassana, which takes you to the final goal of ultimate truth. Continue. Continue to work every day, morning and evening. Every day, morning and evening. The results are bound to come. In a few days, when you find that it is very helpful to you, you will decide yourself to give 10 days for anapana and vipassana, and the result will be wonderful. But at this stage, I know you can't give, you don't want to give 10 days, but you can certainly give 10 minutes or maybe 15 minutes, morning, evening, and you start experiencing the result. Work. You have to work. Somebody can guide you, that's all. You have to work your own salvation. You have to come out of your own misery. The way is there, the path is there, the technique is there. Work, 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 and be happy, be peaceful, be liberated from all the miseries. And when you start experiencing even little bit of peace and harmony, After your sitting of 10 minutes, then try to generate love, compassion, goodwill towards all beings, because all beings are unhappy, agitated. May all beings be happy. May all beings be peaceful. May all beings get liberated from misery. Bhavatu Sab Mangalam. Bhavatu Sab Mangalam. Bhavatu Sab Mangalam. Bhala ho, bhala ho, bhala ho.
And that's our first video. Our next video is going to be more about the practice and his teachings. And if you'd like, you can continue practicing mindfulness, anapana, while you listen.
Welcome to Mindscapes, a series of conversations with men and women whose ideas, vision and philosophy define our contemporary world. My guest today is the meditation master, with a following, an influence and impact around the world. He's taught people that have ranged from the movers and shakers at the World Economic Forum in Davos, at prisons, bureaucrats, members of parliament, schools, colleges, and a large community. I'm delighted to welcome Acharya Satyanarayan Goenka. You are a meditation teacher, and there are so many different forms of meditation and some confusion about what meditation really is. What is meditation?
The word meditation carries a meaning as if we have an object and we keep on concentrating our mind on it and get submerged in it. But this is not so. This is awareness. Awareness of the totality of the body and mind, the interaction of body and mind. One keeps on observing it, the influence of body on the mind, the influence of mind on the body, and because of one's ignorance as to what is happening at the depth of the mind, the reaction of defilement start, craving, aversion, which keeps on multiplying at the root level, and then keeps on overpowering one. And then one is helpless and performs such unwholesome actions at the vocal level, at the physical level, for which one repents later.
The form of meditation that you teach, Vipassana, is sort of roughly translated, I suppose, in some strands of English translation as mindfulness.
Mindfulness, yes.
Training in mindfulness.
Right.
You have also taught that this derives from the teachings of the Buddha.
Yes, certainly.
To what degree is this circumscribed by Buddha's other teachings and philosophies, such as the Four Noble Truths, the Eightfold Middle Path? To what degree is a commitment or an understanding of those explanations and systems important to the practice of Vipassana?
This is what it is. The Four Noble Truths is being experienced. The Eightfold Noble Path is being experienced. And this is Vipassana. You experience the truth. It is not an intellectual game. It is not just a philosophy to accept it at the emotional level or devotional level or even intellectual level. One has to experience the truth. What is dukkha? What is misery? And observing the misery, one finds the cause of the misery at the experiential level. And observing that cause, one finds out the way how to come out of it. And one reaches the stage where entire misery is gone.
So is there a scriptural, a textual, philosophical, intellectual, as you said, a context from which you approach these teachings? Or is it purely experiential and it doesn't need the verbalization, the concretization in concepts and thought?
Quite. Nothing to do with concepts, nothing to do with thoughts, nothing to do with imagination. The reality as it is. And this is explained in the words of Buddha himself. Again and again, he has been emphasizing on these two words, jhana, passa. Passa means experience. Passa means to see also, to observe also. But actually, where the technique is concerned, it means to feel, to experience. And jhana, you get your knowledge with your own experience. Not a book knowledge, not something that you know by discussions or by intellectualization, but real experience.
You'd mentioned that sometimes if we are not mindful because of defilements, we could do actions which we repent later.
Right.
Is there a moral framework that circumscribes Vipassana?
Quite. The base of Vipassana is the Eightfold Noble Path, which is divided in three sections: Shila, morality; Samadhi, mastery over the mind; and Panya, wisdom. You purify your mind, the totality of the mind, not just the surface of the mind, by developing your own wisdom. So all these three are there, and the base is morality, certainly. Without this, other two steps cannot be taken.
So do you then sort of require of your students that they follow these moral structures, frameworks, guidelines in order to be more effective practitioners?
That is true. That is true, because that is the foundation of the entire technique of Vipassana. If the foundation goes weak, the entire structure of meditation will collapse. One does not get any benefit. So when people come, they take 5 precepts. At least for those 10 days, when they are practicing it, they are supposed not to break any one of these 5 precepts. After that, they are their own masters. If they find that it's very good, that I must observe these precepts for the whole life, wonderful, and many people start observing. Otherwise, if not 5, maybe 4, maybe 3, but they start observing. Without that, the samadhi, concentration of mind in a right way, is not possible. And unless there is a samadhi, samyak samadhi, samma samadhi, you can't have wisdom, you can't have pragya, you can't have panya. So all these, shila is for samadhi, samadhi is for pragya, and pragya is for liberation.
So you've used the word a number of times, wisdom. So Vipassana assumes that the wisdom is inherent, is already there, and somehow there are defilements which need to be removed or handled or disappear, and natural, spontaneous wisdom will emerge.
Right. Normally, the so-called surface of the mind, which is a very small part of the mind, and Buddha used the word paritta, that means parimita, a very small part of the mind. And one keeps on working at this level only, where the intellect works. But the bigger part of the mind constantly is a prisoner of its own habit pattern. And the habit pattern of that part of the mind is that the root level is constantly reacting to the sensations on the body. If one feels a pleasant sensation, one immediately reacts with craving. Unpleasant sensation immediately reacts with aversion. And they are all the time, day and night, pleasant, unpleasant, sometimes neutral sensations are there throughout the body. And the habit pattern of the mind at the root level has become such that it keeps on reacting. Now this technique takes one to go to that depth and feel the body sensations and feel how the mind is reacting. And one starts changing the habit pattern by understanding that the entire physical structure, the entire mental structure, the combination of the two, look, it is constantly changing. All the time in a flux, in a flow. Again, not an intellectual game. One feels arising, passing, with great rapidity. Oh, something which is so ephemeral, however pleasant it may be, there is no meaning, no purpose of reacting with craving or generating any kind of attachment to it. Similarly, unpleasant sensation comes. It is also arising, passing. There is no meaning, no purpose of generating aversion towards it. It is passing away.
So given this sort of intimate relationship between mind and body, modern research is looking at the biochemistry of the brain, and a lot of work is being done on using chemicals to deal with mental illness, to deal with depression, to deal with schizophrenia, what have you. How does Vipassana view the developments in the biochemistry of the brain, particularly in treating mental illness?
With my study of Buddha's practical teaching of Vipassana and Buddha's teaching in his own words in the Pali language, I found that he was not a founder of any religion, no religion. To me, he was a super scientist. He discovered certain things which were already there, but he discovered. One important thing that he found out was that the apparent level it looks that one is reacting to the sensual objects. When a shape, a form, a color comes in contact with the eyes, one reacts. If one likes it, then reacts with craving. If dislikes, reacts with aversion. Similarly, sound for the ear, smell for the nose, taste for the tongue, touch for the body, and a thought for the mind. When they come in contact, you react. This was the belief even before Buddha. This is belief even after Buddha in India. What he discovered was, you are not reacting to these sensual objects. The sensual objects coming in contact with your sense doors and your reaction, there is a missing link. And that missing link is a sensation on the body. As soon as something comes in contact, there is a sensation in the body which is natural. And then another part of the mind recognizes it. What? And gives valuation. Oh, good, bad. Word has come. What word? Word of abuse. Word of praise. Word of abuse. Oh, very bad. Word of praise. Oh, wonderful. And this very neutral sensation changes. When one says, wonderful, very good, it changes into pleasant sensation. Oh, very bad, unpleasant sensation. And then one starts reacting. Although it all happens so quickly that one always remains apparent truth. Oh, I am reacting to the words, I am reacting to the shape, to the form. When you go to the depth, it becomes so clear, Buddha's words become so clear, you are reacting to the body sensations. Now these body sensations, you talked about biochemicals. He used the word ashrava. Ashrava means a flow. With the stream of the blood, a biochemical starts flowing. As soon as one generates anger, a particular biochemical starts flowing, which is very unpleasant. And because it is very unpleasant, one again reacts with anger. One reacts with anger, and this ashrava becomes stronger, and a vicious circle starts. The same thing with all the defilements of the mind. Passion, a particular type biochemical will start. Fear, a particular type. Depression, a particular type. Ego, a particular type. Every defilement of the mind generates the secretion of a particular biochemical which starts flowing with the stream of the blood, and one, without knowing what's happening, one keeps on reacting to it, and one keeps on multiplying the defilement.
You have been at pains to emphasize that the practice of Vipassana is essentially secular and can coexist with no matter what one's faith or practice or religion is. And yet this does derive from the teachings of the Buddha.
Yeah.
The teachings of the Buddha made some assumptions about the fact of reincarnation, of aspects of subtle mind. There was some sort of essentially Buddhist concepts. How does this translate into a secular vocabulary?
One thing let me tell you. Buddha never taught Buddhism. Buddha never made a single person a Buddhist. Entire words of Buddha, which are contained in about 15,000 pages, and then the commentaries and sub-commentaries, total about 55,000 pages, large literature, and we have put everything in the CD-ROM, and there is a research program in it. Nowhere the word Buddha is available there. Whatever it teaches, it says Dhamma, that is Dharma, that is law, that is truth, law of nature, universal law of nature. And those who follow, he never tells them Buddha. He says Dhammiko, Dharmic, Dhammatto, Dharmist. These are the words he is using. And we are making research, and we have found till about 500 years, this word Buddhism or Buddhist, Bodh Dharma or Bodh Darshan was never used. I don't know when it started. And I feel when this word started, maybe innocently or maybe with some bad intention, I cannot say. When this word started being used for the teaching of Buddha, or for the followers of Buddha, I feel it was a degradation of Buddha's teaching. Because then it becomes a sect. The moment you say Buddhism, it becomes a sect. The moment you say Buddhist, it becomes a sectarian. He never used those words. And in his teaching, I find, he was so very much against this casteism. One is not high or low because of one takes birth from this mother or that mother. Exactly in the same way, he was against all sorts of sectarianism. One is not high or low because of this sect or that sect, only because of karma. What one section is. If action is good, one is a higher person. Action is bad, one is a lower person. His teaching is so clear and so universal, so non-sectarian.
Is there any space in Vipassana or alongside it for prayer, for ritual, for the practices of different faiths and religions? You normally associate spirituality with at least the notion of prayer.
It is not a religion at all. In Buddha's teaching, nowhere we find a trace of prayer. No prayer. You have to work on your own salvation. Somebody can just show you the path. Buddha says, I can only show the path. The Buddha only shows the path, entire journey one has to make oneself.
So what is the role of the teacher, of the guru?
Just to show the path. One who has walked on the path, has experience on the path, will say, well look, step by step, you have to walk on the path like this, that's all. Unless somebody walks on the path, one cannot reach the goal. Every step that one takes makes this person nearer to the goal. Every step takes him nearer to the goal. But every step one has to take oneself.
Is the relationship of the guru in Vipassana as intense as we have traditionally learned it is, shall we say, or it has been practiced in Hinduism, where in fact when you take on a guru, you surrender your karma, and that becomes a sort of a very intense surrender. Does one still keep one's analytical, critical faculties alive in looking at the guru?
Nothing at all. There is no gurudom involved. No gurudom. The words of Buddha are so clear. Tume hi kichang atapang akkha taro tathagata. You have to work out your own salvation. Buddha will only show the path. So the same role is played by the teacher. He shows the path. A teacher cannot liberate somebody.
So what are the qualities of the perfect teacher?
Well, when I was made a teacher, then my teacher examined me and he found out something good in me, then that's why he made me a teacher. What I do, first thing, one must be quite perfect in the technique so that no deviation is made. One shows the right path, one important thing. Second important thing, one should have experienced that oneself, at least to a certain extent, up to which one can guide others. Third important thing, one must have developed a lot of love, compassion, goodwill, selfless service. If these qualities are not there, we can't train somebody to be a teacher. And another important thing, because the work is now taken up by the householders, And householder, if he teaches, he will start spreading the palm, asking some money, which is totally prohibited. So every teacher, everyone whom we train as a teacher must have a means of livelihood, another means of livelihood. And this he must give free service. These are the four qualities on the basis of which we train people to become teachers.
Do you feel in your striving, it was what, more than 30 years ago, in the late 60s, that this was a practice that came to you, and you started teaching in India. Do you experience any imperfections yourself, any striving yourself?
I don't think. It was so easy. When I came, of course, there was a doubt in my mind, because these are residential courses. Who will arrange a 10-day course for me?
Well, we should just explain to our viewers that what you really organize for people who start the practice of Vipassana is a residential 10-day course where they come in and they sort of, as it's a residential course, they're not in touch with the outside world, and they give up the use of any drugs and at least put aside any traditional practices that they have for that period.
Quite. So when people come like this, there must be some management to look after them. Even some money is needed to start the work. I don't know how it happened, but within a month, when I came from Burma, within a month a course was held. And once one course was held, those who got benefited, they couldn't resist. Please give one more course. My father will come, my mother will come, my son will come, my brother will come, my friend will come. And like this, it started rolling. I had no difficulty.
I should also just go back and mention briefly and really ask you that you learned this teaching from a master in Burma at the time when you were struggling with what you thought was a psychosomatic ailment and used to get very severe headaches, and you went to this teacher to learn Vipassana to address a specific problem. And then what happened? If you could tell us briefly.
He totally refused me. He said, don't come to me. If you want to get your migraine treated, better go to some doctors. You are devaluing the teaching which is so high spiritual teaching, and you want to make use of it for your physical ailment?
To cure a headache.
To cure headaches. Totally out of question. And that attracted me towards this saintly person. He was a householder, he was a government officer, he was the first accountant general of independent Burma, and he knew that I am from the standard of Burma at that time, was a business magnate, industries, business, and president of the Rangoon Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and so many things, and very close to the ministers and prime ministers. One would have been very happy to have this person as a disciple. And he says, go away. I can't teach you. Whenever you want to have your mind purified, come, the gates are open. But if you come for any kind of curing the ailments, bodily, I'm not going to teach you. That attracted me. And then he explained what the teaching is. He said, you are leader of the Hindu community in Burma. Tell me, in your religion, is there any objection to Shila, that means morality? How can there be objection? Morality is accepted by every religion of the world. My religion accepts it. I will teach you morality. Then he said, how can you live a moral life unless you have control over your mind? Samadhi. Oh, Samadhi is wonderful. In our scriptures we keep on reading that Muni and that Rishi went and had Samadhi and all that. If you teach me Samadhi, sir, I have got no objection. Samadhi alone will not help. It will just control your mind, purify the mind, just at the surface level. At the deep level, the behavior pattern remains the same. You keep on generating defilement after defilement. For that I teach you Panya, in Pali called Panya. In Sanskrit we say Pragya. And that will help you to purify the mind at the deepest level. Any objection to Pragya? Pragya. I have been teaching Gita to my people. Sit Pragya, Shaka, Bhasha, what is Tit Pragya and all that. Somebody teaches me Pragya. No objection. That's all. Sila, Samadhi, Panya, nothing else. Still I had hesitation. Hesitation was that this is Buddhism and this is Buddhist path. And these people don't believe in soul, they don't believe in God, they are Gnostic. If I become Gnostic, what will happen? I'll go to hell. So, yes, sir, I will come. I will come, sir, but let me think over. It took me a few months more when I decided, let me give it a trial, let me see what happens. And then when I passed through it, I found this is applied Gita, practical Gita. Mere intellectual understanding the theory does not help. It gives inspiration, it gives guidance, but you can't get the fruits. Merely accepting truth at the devotional level is good. It gives inspiration, it gives guidance. It can't give fruits. It is the practical side which gives the fruit. And here, these people are teaching the practical aspect of Dharma that attracted me. And then the wonderful results that started coming. I was such an ego-centered person. And that made this migraine so severe. In my mid-20s, I was so successful in life. Unbelievable. And that pride and ego, look, I'm such an intelligent person. Oh, I'm like this, I'm like this. That ego made me a very short-tempered person. All the time, angry on this reason, angry for that, angry for this, and then repenting afterwards, why I should have said these words, why I did like this, I should not have done. Yet I continued. Change started coming even by the first course. And the defilement started passing away, passing away, passing away. I started living a very happy life, peaceful life. Then I took my friends and all. Perhaps some magic or miracle has been done, and that's why I'm getting this benefit. Why not you also try? Why not you also try? Hundreds of my Indian friends went to this teacher for the same result.
You mentioned this aspect of happiness, and obviously, there are different notions of happiness, and that is part of the problem. That sort of the popular culture, the popular media will tell us that if you get the next best car, or you get a beautiful wife, or a handsome husband, or what have you, that you will somehow be happy. What is the notion of happiness?
The happiness, which is because of these so-called sensual pleasures, we don't say that there is no happiness, because they are so ephemeral. And when you experience these happinesses, out of madness, out of ignorance, you develop tremendous amount of attachment to it. And this is not eternal.
So what is eternal? What is the eternal
Eternal
happiness?
is the equanimity of the mind, and the eternal is something beyond mind and matter. You start this real happiness with the equanimity of the mind. You try to maintain that equanimity as long at a stretch as possible. And then purifying the mind, you transcend the entire field of mind and matter. You transcend the entire field of sensorium. And that is the stage which is real happiness.
Is that nirvana?
Nirvana. One calls nirvana, one may call moksha, one may call mukti. Or if somebody wants to say God Almighty, all right. We are not here to quarrel with the words.
Do you feel you have reached and experienced that stage?
Well, to some extent, if I had not reached, I could not teach others. In this tradition, one does not say much about oneself. I simply say that I am a tremendously changed person from what I started 45 years ago.
Do you have any aspirations, goals for yourself, which you just feel you have reached that stage of equanimity and you just carry on and surrender?
That comes naturally, step by step. I won't have to strive for that. Now the goal is, I had a great misconception about Buddha's teaching. We have great respect for Buddha. In my poetries in Hindi, I use so laudable words about Buddha. Just like Rama, like Krishna, so Buddha, Avatara. But his teaching, oh no good. Teaching is not good. This is Bauddha Dharma. This is Bauddha Dharma. I was trained that way. And when I pass through all this, there is nothing which I can find in any way wrong. It is pure Dharma, nothing else. Shila, Samadhi, Pragya, what's wrong in it? Maitri, Karuna, what's wrong in it? Then I studied the words of Buddha, the Tipitaka, in Pali language, the original.
So your goal is to redress that misunderstanding.
Exactly. Then I studied our Puranas, our scriptures here, and I found last 1,500 years, so many things are said about Buddha's teaching which are totally wrong, baseless. So now let people know. I say sometimes that a great son of our country was banished. Now let us call him back. He got glory everywhere in the world, but we missed his teaching. Now let us make use of him and his teaching, especially today when the country needs so much of division because of casteism, because of communalism, sectarianism, so very much unhappiness there is in the country. If this comes up, all these difficulties will go.
Terry Goenka, thank you very much. This has been a great blessing.
Yes.
Okay. That brings us right up to the end of our meeting, but let's definitely spend just a little time discussing what came up for us. There's a lot of powerful information. And then, if it's okay with everyone, we'll go a little bit time over if needed for our dedication of merit. And I'll get us started. For me, that video was a pretty good introduction to him, his teachings. And from that, I really enjoyed how simple he makes everything. He has taken these very, I would say, complex teachings on sila, samadhi, bhavana, panya, and he's made this accessible to so many people by just focusing on the basics, focusing on the essentials, and giving, I don't know, a sense of encouragement, like fortitude to like really want to practice. And practicing while listening to him, just feeling and experiencing what he's talking about it was just really powerful. But I could really feel his energy, and just how a lot of what he said about sila, samadhi, panya being in his words, in his voice, in his presence. I felt kind of a feeding off of that, an energy of just, in a way, being in his presence, an honor to hear his words and know his mind. So, yeah, that's what comes up for me. Thanks for letting me share.
Just in the interest of time, I'll be brief. I did appreciate the video a lot. I've said several times I don't call myself a Buddhist, so when he says things like the Buddha never taught Buddhism and the Buddha didn't call himself a Buddhist, as someone who just like practices mindfulness, I found that really comfortable and encouraging. So yeah, I appreciate that approach quite a bit. But yeah, that's about all I'll say in short.
I think I can just piggyback off of what Dirk said. Um, I don't know a lot of basics of Buddhism. I don't know a lot of the scriptures and stuff like that. And that was like the one thing that drew me towards this was exactly the same thing, the noble path. How like I had a sense of integrity since a long time ago, and I was aware of that, and just something aligning with your sense of integrity and honesty. And I think that was what initially drew me to the path itself, that it didn't talk about religion. It didn't put inhibitions on me that because you belong to this sect of individual, now you can't do that. But it was more about understanding the cause and effect of action. So it kind of ties into the right action. And I think that was what drew me towards it, the whole path. And I have been able to stick to it because it's sensible, it's logical, and it is sound when it comes to like cause and effect. And I think that's why I have ended up being on this path for so long. If either one of those things were missing, I would be a real skeptic about it.
Yeah. Thanks, Ruchi. Yeah. I was going to piggyback on what you said, Ruchi, but I'll keep it at that. Yeah, let's go ahead and close our meeting unless there's anything else. Otherwise, oh, just so I don't forget. There we go. To practice generosity, I will drop in these little links here. Our Sangha operates on generosity. All of this is coming to you simply for the love of it. And if you'd like to show your love, you can always do so monetarily by donating through our website or through these links. This is the practice of dana, generosity, to feel this energy of love and oneness with others, humility, so many things. But also practicing dana, generosity, can be in so many different forms, so many ways. Just thinking this week, we have so many talents. For me to lead this Sangha, it made me realize it uses so many of my skills that I've acquired from other lives. And it's really nice to be able to kind of just have a place to use those things. And so if you have skills that you think that are useful to this Sangha, offer them up. There's always room for more. And you can just let me know. So with that, thank you so much for your support. Your presence here is more than enough. Your presence here is needed in order for this to happen. So just want to make that known as well. So, Ruchi, would you like to do a dedication of merit?
Yeah, I'll try to keep it brief. I know we are running a little bit over. All right, we'll start with 3 deep breaths. And with every breath, deeply rooting ourselves in equanimity. May my today's practice raise the vibration of my space as well as the vibration of the Sangha. May my practice from today allow me and all beings to move towards the path of liberation and be peaceful and be happy and be healthy. I share my merits of today's practice and henceforth with all beings, visible or invisible, animate or inanimate. May my practice create vibrations of loving kindness and compassion around the world and the universe. May all the teachers, guides, fellow practitioners benefit from my practice today and bolster their growth in the path of Dharma and may they be happy, peaceful, healthy, and liberated. May all beings be happy, be peaceful, be healthy, and be liberated. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
That was beautiful, Ruchi. Thank you. And thank you, Sangha. Thank you, everyone, for your presence this evening. I am feeling very touched just to be here with you. And with that, if you'd like to say goodnight, it's a good chance to do so. I look forward to seeing you again this week. Dirk, Ruchi, please reach out if you have time. I'd love to just sit and chat and maybe practice. So, all right. Have a good night.
Bye, guys.
Good night, y'all.
Bye.